Welcome to another video of Baddest of Poppy, and the library is open, bitches. So the concept for this mini-series started even way back before I had gone on hiatus, and is kind of coming full circle now. So I'll be doing a couple of different episodes as you were coming in the next, couple of weeks, months, I don't know what. Basically just touching on like studology 101, stud 101, what does it mean to be a stud, like what does a stud look like, how do they act, or are there different types of studs, issues that studs have to deal with, like getting confused for a guy, or what bathroom, feeling comfortable in, etc. And there are just a lot of different issues of questions that I constantly get asked, things, ignorant statements that I constantly hear related to studs, and etc. So like I said, stay tuned for that. I'll be doing them probably sporadically and periodically in between when I have like other video ideas or topic requests, etc. But the video I'm here to talk about today, episode 1, is the outside of a stud. So the number one question on everybody's mind, what is a stud? And plain and simple, a stud is a masculine identified female. I don't know where that fucking definition came from. I just heard it one day and it made sense, and it's the most intelligent definition that I've ever heard to describe a stud. It doesn't say that studs all have to look the same, talk the same, walk the same, act the same, shop in the same damn department. Being a stud is not about the outside. That's why when ignorant ass females and ignorant ass whatevers think that they can just slap on some guy's clothes and say they're gonna change the game, you're not changing the game. You're just putting on a different outfit. It's like dressing up for Halloween. Being a stud is all about the inside. It doesn't matter if you put a stud in a dress, you're still gonna know that stud is a stud. I have homies, stud friends that wear makeup, tighter, girls' clothes, they do their hair, they wear dresses and heels, but they are still a motherfucking stud from head to damn toe. Being a stud is not about the exterior by any means. Yes, that is how you can sometimes identify a stud, that's sometimes how you can relate to a stud, but at the end of the day, clothing does not make people. I don't know how many times we have to talk about this across all spectrums, across all orientations, across all races, and etc. Clothing does not make you who you are. It just makes what's on your motherfucking body. So, at the end of the day, being a stud is what's on the inside. If you feel that, if you just feel like a masculine-centered female, if you feel more dominant, but not in a traditional feminine sense, because we can get into other terms about aggressive femmes and etc. and like a whole other motherfucking video and a segment for somebody who wants to understand that. But being a stud just means you are more in tune to your masculine side, because everybody has one. Everybody has a masculine and a feminine side. Some people are just more in touch with one or the other. Probably the second question I get asked is, why do studs dress like guys? Why do they want to be men? Why do they pretend to be guys? Why do they dress the way that they do? What do studs have to shop in the men's department? And all of those questions come from the dumbest people on earth. Ignorance. I don't give a fuck if you're asking to understand that some questions in this world are stupid. It's not that studs want to be guys. Point blank fucking period, and you can believe me or not believe me, I don't really give any stacks of fucks about the issue. Like, it's all about who that person is. But you also, at the end of the motherfucking day, cannot judge one person, 2 people, 4 people, 17 people, a fucking group of people by the actions of others. Just because you see me in all of the different looks you've seen me in, long hair, colored hair, short hair, no hair, fucking gay colors, straight colors, looking like a dude, looking like a girl, sounding like a girl, sounding intelligent, sounding white, sounding black, sounding whatever in the third, does not mean you can then look at another stud and say, oh, okay, well, she don't act like her, so she's not a stud. Do you know how many times I've had people tell me that I am not a stud because I have a more high-pitched voice than most studs? Because I sound white or educated, for the non-ignorant saying of that phrase, that I don't qualify to be a stud? Do you know I've had people come on my channel and actually tell me, you're not a stud, quit playing pretend, take that fitted off. Ignorance. It must be bliss. At the end of the day, every stud is who she is because of just where she came from, her beliefs, who she identifies with, the type of person that she sees herself as. When I open up my mind and I open up my fucking horizons and I broadened my view spectrum, I started looking with my peripheral vision and I realized that there's no box. You can do and be whoever you want to. And at the end of the day, because I do have to say it, and there's going to be some dumbass that says it in the comments, at the end of the day, the labels don't really matter. I always stress that I only find labels important when it comes to dating, because it makes it so much easier than sitting there and having a 20-minute conversation about what the fuck you are when you can just say one word. So for those idiots out there that are going to bitch about labels are for clothing and for food, not for people, shut the fuck up. I don't care. So to kind of wrap this one up, I do want to address the last subject that is very sensitive for some people, but it has been asked of me many, many times, and I do feel it should be addressed just so I don't have to answer it again. And that is the color difference. In the community that I grew up in the community of where I kind of learned everything that I learned, there was a separation. Studs traditionally in my world that I grew up in are black, mixed, Latino, sometimes, Asian. Like, they are ethnicities, not Caucasian. Like, anything but Caucasian, that's what usually a stud is. And then a Caucasian dominant female, and where I grew up was a butch, a dyke. Every community, every little clustery area is going to have their own ideas and their own separations. And that's just what I know growing up, is that, the white lesbian community, still to this day, as far as I've seen, has their own terms. Not necessarily that they do, but like, people will identify white lesbians as something different than they identify black lesbians, or mixed lesbians, or Latinos, or whatever in the third. So if you hear those terms crossing borders and jumping in and mixing up the fucking pile, they are somewhat the same. A stud is equivalent to a butch, a dyke, an AG, a dom, but I just wanted to address it because I have had it asked of me many times if there was a difference, what the different terms mean, if they were the same as each other, and etc. in the third. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to how somebody identifies themselves. Whew, so that was a sufficient mouthful. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this shit on up. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, there are going to be other episodes to this mini-series. I don't really know how many. Definitely a lot of ideas for questions that I've gotten asked millions of fucking times and things that I've thought of. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about specifically about studs and the stud community, and AGs, DOMs, whatever you call it, you can definitely leave the feedback in the comment box below. Other than that, the question of the day is,